guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Whistle with me, Matty K, and Grace Wild. How are we doing, Grace?
I'm so good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. No Premier League football this weekend. An amazing weekend for FA Cup, though. So we thought we'd use this opportunity to maybe talk about some transfers. But before we do, Grace, FA Cup weekend, the magic of the cup. Did you watch it?
I watched as much of it as I possibly could. I absolutely love the FA Cup, and I think the Macclesfield result just summed up the cup perfectly. It was just a delight, and it's not necessarily that I want to see Palace do badly. It's not. It's got nothing to do with that. It's more about the money that Macclesfield can make, the name. With what Macclesfield have been through. It's teams like that who just thrive in the cup, and I absolutely love it. What about you? Did you catch much of it?
Yeah, what I could. I actually wanted to I was going to put a little video out, and I might still do it, but I hadn't had a chance to do it yet. It really frustrating because this was the first weekend where it wasn't really available on free TV. There was the odd game or so, but now it's gone to TNT Sports and stuff, and it's all behind a paywall. It's become quite frustrating to watch the football, really. But yeah, what I could see of it, I watched, and we had some, like you said, Macclesfield is the magic of the cup. Shame with Man City beating Exeter 10-1 because that sort of puts a bit of a down. That's the other side of the coin of the FA Cup in it. But stuff like watch the Tottenham game, which was a game of 2 hours, but I ain't going to get into that today because we'll be here all night. But yeah, no, it is a shame that it's behind a paywall now. But there we go. That's the world we're living.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I actually spoke to one of my colleagues at work about. It it's annoying when you know it's happening but you can't watch it. I mean, I'm fortunate that I have TNT available to me, so I could pretty much watch whatever I wanted to watch. But it's just it doesn't. I don't know about you, but it just doesn't fit with the essence of the FA Cup. It just doesn't work with what that competition is all about. In a sense, I sort of get the Champions League. I don't like it, but I get the Champions League being, all come and watch the best teams in Europe, and you've got to pay to see it. I sort of understand the logic there. But the FA Cup, that is not what it's about. And I think was the Macclesfield game on the BBC? I think it was, wasn't it?
That game was on the BBC, yeah.
Which I'm really pleased about because I think that was the highlight of the weekend. And most people got to see that beauty of the FA Cup, which is nice.
Yeah, no, it's stuff like that game should be on TV, and the Tottenham Aston Villa debate. You could put that behind a paywall because we get to see that twice a year anyway, as long as both teams stay up in the Premier League. But stuff like Man City Exeter, I think that was behind the paywall, and that was a shame because that could bring in big revenue for Exeter City and stuff like that. And they're going to get a good paid out of it anyway. But yeah, it is a shame. But that is just the world we live in now, isn't it? It's being taken over by the media. Should we jump into some transfers?
Absolutely, go for it.
Yeah, okay, so I've been trying to get Bruno Mars tickets all day, so my research is on the floor, mate. So I'm kind of leaving. Still haven't got them yet. We're still working on this. I've made some notes. I put it out onto our Instagram as well. If you're not following that, it's Beyond the Whistle, and we put out a little "we want your help" sort of thing, and you can respond to us with what players you want coming into your club. They don't have to be rumoured with your club. It's just who would you like to see or whatever. But we've got a couple of them which we'll go through. Follow the Instagram. You can get involved there, with that as well. But Grace, do you want to kick us off? Actually, no, sorry, I'll tell you what, I'll kick us off because 5 minutes ago, before we jumped on this call, Conor Gallagher has officially signed for Tottenham Hotspur. Grace, give me.
Oh, don't. Sorry, I interrupted you with my ugh.
No, it's all good. I'll put my notes up there. Go on, go for it.
But I'm really, really, really interested in your view on this, actually. As a Tottenham fan yourself, I have had conversations with a lot of football fans in the last couple of days. Conor Gallagher, absolutely love the player. Really, really like him. He's obviously looking to get a spot in the World Cup squad. That's going to be his priority. Sort of understand why he's making the trip back to English football. Um, do you, as a Tottenham fan, and I would say you're a very balanced Tottenham fan, you are somebody who can look at the positives and the negatives. You're not sort of blinded by it being your club. Do you think Conor Gallagher actually helps with what you're missing at the moment?
Okay, so the way I see it is put simply, because I can go on a rant about Tottenham, as you know, for ages. But put simply, is it a player we need? No. Is it an upgrade on what we've got? Yes. And that is where I'm quite happy from a a Tottenham point of view because for years we've never upgraded the players that we've got. We've bought in cheap, we've always bought twice because buy cheap, buy twice, and we've never been able to sell on a player. And I'm not sure we'll be able to sell on Conor Gallagher, especially if he sees out his 5 year deal, not for profit anyway. But yeah, look, that's the way I sort of see it. Is it's an upgrade on what we have? Is it a player we need? No. What I do like is the fact that Tottenham have been linked with Gallagher for seasons now, multiple windows. Ange Postecoglou wanted to bring him in. Levy never wanted to bring him in, apparently. And look, Villa were going to put the money down for him. They were going to bring him in on loan with a possibility of an option to buy. Tottenham saw that and said, no, we need him. And they spent the money and brought him in. And I like that. That's something that we're not used to at Tottenham, really. I've seen a few Tottenham fans online complaining about the price we've paid for him. I think 35 million is not actually a bad price considering he's got Premier League experience. He was the captain of Chelsea Football Club. He knows the league. He knows the players. He's not gonna come and have to spend a couple of games on the bench fitting in. He's gonna come straight into that starting 11 and hit the ground running. So I don't think 35 million is too bad. And on the other hand, I'm going to hand this back over to you in a minute. On the other hand, Tottenham fans have complained for seasons now that we don't spend the money and we're always too cheap. We've gone and spent that money now, and now everyone's complaining we're spending the money. So you can't have it both ways. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts summed up on Conor Gallagher, really.
That's really interesting because I've got another question that I'll ask you in a minute, but I think Conor Gallagher as well, the one thing he does bring, and I think maybe I look at it like this because I support a team that does have to graft. Maybe if I was a Man City fan, it would be slightly different. My sort of view on football would be different. But I do think Gallagher's time at Crystal Palace, and not just his time at Crystal Palace, but his success at Crystal Palace, really showed a grittiness and showed a resilience because you need it. At any other team that's not in, that's not fighting for European places, you need resilience and grittiness. Otherwise, you're going to get nowhere. I can only see that helping you guys. That sort of um, I don't know, just getting your head down and getting the result, grinding out the result. And obviously, I'm a big fan of fan's the wrong word, but I think midfield is one of the most pivotal areas in a football team because they link everything together. And Conor Gallagher can't speak today. Conor Gallagher is the type of player that links everyone together. But I agree with you. I think he's a luxury buy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing sometimes, particularly with some of the injuries you've got. Um, I think he maybe papers over the cracks. I hope you invest from a neutral point of view. I hope you invest in potentially a more defensive midfielder, or I mean, this is my next question to you. What do you think you need in terms of, what position do you think you need the most?
Okay, well, just before I give you my opinion, one of the responses that we got on Instagram was from a Tottenham fan. I'll just quickly read that one out. It says, Tottenham fan here, I reckon we should sign a new 11, a new manager, and sack off the entire board and get a new one of them as well. That's
A
from
new club.
that's from Big Man Sam on Instagram. Yeah, fair enough, Sam. I can't really argue with that. What defensive midfielder? I'm not quite sure. We need somebody. And this is kind of what I was saying to you on the last podcast was we're quite reactive rather than proactive. And I think do I think Tottenham would have signed Conor Gallagher if Bentancur had got injured and now been ruled out for 3 months? No, I don't think they would have, which is a shame because I think he does fit in, and like I said, he adds depth to our squad. Um, we need a midfielder who can pass the ball forwards. Saar, Bentancur, I know Saar's been away at AFCON, but Bentancur, Bergwijn and stuff, and the do tend to pass backwards quite a lot and sideways, and they do slow the game down. We need a forward passing midfielder. We need a. There's links now actually with which we'll probably get onto. I can't pronounce his name. Is it Sui or something like that from
Yeah. Souza. Was it Souza?
Sousa? That's the one. Brazilian left back, and he's 19 years old. Which is good cover for Udogie. Personally, I'd have gone for a proper left back who is ready to go now. I don't think Udogie can cut it. He can never stay fit. Great player on his team, but he's too injury prone. Which is I don't. If he does go down injured, can you trust a 19-year-old to go in there? So I'd have looked at a left back. Probably a new keeper. I think there's questions over Vicario. A new striker, 100%. A prolific striker as well. I'm not talking the likes of Harry Kane, 'cause we're not going to see that again. But Solanke and Richarlison, I spoke in our last podcast about that. I don't think they can cut it. Solanke is a good backup, maybe. And I think Richarlison's an okay bench player. But really, what Tottenham really do need is players on the wing. We need a new left wing and a new right winger. We've got Kudus maybe, but we can't rely on him constantly. But definitely a new left winger.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I think just to sort of say my mistake, I always think defensive midfielder. It's sort of different, isn't it, for a top six club? It's not. I probably mean you're looking for a sort of Declan Rice, someone who's going to spray the ball about, control the tempo of the midfield, win that midfield battle. Sorry, that was the bottom half of the league coming out of me. In terms of defensive midfielder. Yeah, that's really interesting. I always think sometimes clubs can weigh heavy with wingers and attacking prospects, and struggle defensively. But actually, I feel like Tottenham, yeah, you're right. They do need those winger options. They also need somebody who's just going to come on and change the game, don't you think?
Well, this is where I think Richarlison is better coming off the bench. I think he's a good last minute player for like the last 20 minutes of a game. You know, it might be a 1-1 and you need a goal, or you might be even 2-1 down or something. You need to get that. And he's that player that is quite gritty and he's annoying. He gets under the defender's skin, and that last 20 minutes when they're tiring is something that you need it. So I'm not saying I don't think Richarlison would settle for a bench player though. Especially when he can get into a team. I know he's come from there. Maybe go back to Everton. You'd be a starting 11 or something. And yeah, it's hard, but um, yeah, I don't know. It is a tough one, but I do think we need to really improve the starting 11, especially on that left wing.
I think arguably you've got too much to do it in this window. I think it's going to take a January and a summer, if not another January, to potentially get it right. But it's determined on.
Because
Go on.
if we're going to sack Frank, do we? What's the point in backing him in this window? Do you know what I mean? There's too many questions. There's rumours today that Xavi Alonso, obviously he's now left Madrid, and I can't see it myself. He's destined for Liverpool, isn't he? There's
Yeah,
Sol Campbell's come out and said Ruben Amorim should be going to Tottenham. Whatever you think of that man as a Tottenham fan, I'll let you. We all know that sort of story, but yeah, there's no point in backing Frank in the window, which, as we'll get onto this podcast as well, January is tough enough as it is, and this
yeah.
window is proving really difficult. What's the point in backing Frank if you're going to sack him? Do you want to go down the rumour of Tottenham setting up for a Pochettino return? He was captain at Chelsea during the Pochettino era. He played under every game for Poch, so they're setting up for that. You can go down that path if you want to, but like I was going to say, then sorry for interrupting, but why back Frank in the window if you're going to sack him?
I totally agree. I totally agree, and I think it's the conundrum that a lot of people find themselves in mid season is: do you back them? Do you not? And it's almost, if you do back them, and this is where West Ham potentially have done the opposite, where they have backed the manager, you almost would be stupid to sack him now, because it's like you need to give him a chance with the players he's got, and you would look a bit silly. And I think a lot of football managers, a lot of football owners, quite large egos, and I think they don't want to be seen as looking silly. And so I do think January activity can tell you a lot about the relationship with the manager.
Right, I mean, I've talked about Tottenham enough. We'll move on from them, but just a quick yes or no. If West Ham do go down, you are going to lose a lot of players. I know what's going to happen. I think you know what's going to happen in terms of the manager. Let's just say, in a world where West Ham do keep him on in the Championship as a Championship manager, would you be happy with that or not?
I think, in all honesty, I don't have an answer for that at the moment, because I want to see how we go down. I want to see if we go down fighting, I'm probably okay with it. If we go down like a lead balloon, I don't want to see it, because he's not inspiring the players. He's not trying to get the best out of the players, and I don't see it happening, if I'm honest with you, because I think there'll come a point in the season where the board will start to look at managers if it looks like we are definitely going down in terms of replacing Nuno, because I think Nuno has had long enough to keep us up, in my opinion. He's had long enough to put, he's not come in, after Christmas. He's come in well before then and had the opportunity to make his mark and potentially save our season. Look, that could still happen. There's no doubt that could still happen. Add a few players in that are his type of player, who he wants to work with, who he has worked with previously. And you never know, we might get a tune out of what is actually not that bad of a starting 11. Um, but no, I don't see us sticking with Nuno. That's one thing I don't see us doing. I mean, it's tough, isn't it? But no, I think we would. It's frustrating actually that Carrick's gone to United. I know it's only temporary, but if he does well, I'm assuming they'll make it permanent. Unless they can get somebody, someone like Xabi Alonso, someone like that. So, I could have seen someone like him coming in if we go down to the championship. I honestly, Matty, I have no idea what's going to happen if we go down. Not a clue. We are so all over the place.
Yeah, and I mean, at time of recording, we're a couple of days away from Tottenham versus West Ham, which does feel like quite a big 6 pointer for you. And I think if you win that, that could pull us quite uncomfortably close to a relegation scrap ourselves. So I'm not too happy with that. But then I think now that they've announced Gallagher, I think he's going to be in the squad. I'm not saying he's going to turn the entire season around for Tottenham, but it's a positive, isn't it? Should we run through some of these fan questions, statements, or whatever?
Yeah,
Uh, I've only jotted down a couple here, but there's one here. I know it's not Premier League, but Ipswich just want a striker. I know it's a long shot, but Ferguson would be a good shout. That's from Joe. Matt Gahey to Liverpool would be ideal. Lack of depth and an injury crisis has me nervous for more injuries. That's from Gunther. There was somebody else who put Gahey to Liverpool as well.
yeah.
But I'll tell you what. Well, let's just talk about that quickly because obviously there is a lot of speculation around Matt Gahey. What do you think is going to happen? A January move, or is he going to wait till the summer?
He's out of contract, isn't he, at the end of the summer? At the end of the season.
Yeah, so he's got 6 months left. He's allowed to negotiate with foreign clubs as of now. So he can sign a contract with them as long as it's somebody abroad. English clubs, he's got to wait for the summer, but he's basically free to go. He's got the pick, hasn't he? He can go wherever he wants. He can go Madrid, Liverpool, Man City. He can do whatever he likes.
Yeah, I think the four main clubs that have really registered interest. Like, I think you're right. I think he could go anywhere, but I think it's City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Bayern have just registered their interest in him, which would be an interesting move. I see him staying in the Premier League. If I'm honest, I think he's wanted enough to stay in the Premier League. I think he heads to Liverpool. If I'm honest, I think that's probably where he's going to go. I don't know why. I'm just getting a feeling he just gives me Liverpool player vibes. Um I think honestly Palace would be silly to not cash in now because he's gonna go for free and that would just be tragic, financially tragic.
Can they afford to though? With they've still got the is it the Europa League, Europa Conference League they're in it. Can they afford to lose him in January with that and the Premier League and everything else going on?
This is why I think it's almost too late because I think if they were going to do that business, they needed to do it early doors, get the money and see what they can do to reinvest. Because I think you're right, they do have Europa League and they're struggling as is with that fixture congestion and tired players. I mean, the one word I would say to it to sort of describe Palace this season is tired. They look tired constantly, and that's fair enough when you're playing so many more games in a season. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this one's gonna play out. I think honestly, for them to recover within the same window, it's too late. But arguably, in the long term, you can't let someone like Mark Gay go for free. That just feels wrong.
Yeah, well, didn't we see it quite recently? I can't remember who it was now. Someone else left for a free, didn't? Well, Trent sort of left for a free, didn't he? He left on a 10 million fee in the end, didn't he? Thanks to the Club World Cup. But without that, that would have been a free transfer. But yeah, we're seeing this quite more often now. Do you think this has got partly down to the players are just realizing if I just wait out the contracts, I can take whichever club comes for me. I get a bigger signing on fee because they're not paying a transfer on it. Is that just the simple case of it?
I think it could be. I think agents are very smart. I think they're also financially savvy, and there's potential that it's not the players thinking about that timing. It's more the people behind them that are going to make a pretty penny that are maybe thinking about that. I haven't really noticed it as such as being more frequent. I think it's always been something, but maybe it is. You might be right. Trent is a great example of that happening, and you almost think certain players deserve those big transfer fees. Do you know what I mean? Like a Declan Rice deserves the £100 million transfer fee. You know, and it's more just that swap of just the fairness of it. You're losing such an important player, but the cash injection could be so beneficial. Does it match up? Probably not, because you don't want to lose the player. Like for us, we didn't spend it wisely enough for that to actually balance out. But you want to see those. I think sometimes it's way too inflated, but you do want to see teams like Palace profit from having players like Mark Gay.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. People like that should be leaving for a fee, and clubs should be utilising it. In the first place, clubs should never let the contract run down like that. Why are we
Mm.
getting to a point where we're thinking, oh no, there's 12 months left on that player's contract, we better do something now. You should be looking like 18 months out, you should be sitting down and negotiating with the player. I mean, maybe they did, we'll never know. Maybe they did sit down and say, look, what do you want? And he just said, nothing, I'm going. Um, the, these things we tend to find out on a podcast 10 years down the line when the player's retired and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. Look, Man City was a big shout. Could I see it? Yes, I can absolutely see it. Do I think it's the right move? Maybe not. They've got that many defenders and stuff. Yes, all right, they've got an injury crisis now, but they're going to return at some point. So yeah, I'm not sure. But look, while we're on Man City, one player that has just moved to Man City, already confirmed, already played 2 games for them, already scored 2 goals for them, is Semenyo. Now we spoke on the last podcast about that. What's your like? I mentioned my thoughts about. I think it wasn't necessarily the right move, and it could be another Jack Grealish sort of vibe. I've seen him play. He looks good in a Man City shirt, doesn't he?
He does, and that's the thing. I mean, we like you said, we had this conversation in the last podcast because we sort of knew it was happening. Um, this is why, for me, it isn't in that Jack Grealish bracket, because I think City need it more now. City need that, I don't know, talisman. He wouldn't necessarily be a talisman because they've got Haaland and they've got big players in that team, but somebody who's just going to bring that injection of belief that they could go on and win the league. Because I don't think it takes much. I don't think it takes much for City to make that U-turn, if you like, and go and win. Like we've said so many times, 10 games on the bounce or something stupid and get themselves clear and winning the Premier League. It's up for grabs, if you know what I mean. I can still see Arsenal missing out on points this season. Um, I like it. I like it. I can't lie. I think he is somebody who can make them better in in a few ways. He can make them better, and you can't say that about every transfer that goes to City because they're so good. It is interesting though that we both have two differing opinions on the player going to the club, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, no, look, I don't think this is a bad move, and I don't think it's a bad move for Semenyo. At the time of recording, it just felt like a Jack Grealish of, are you going to end up being sat on the bench? And we've seen it with the likes of Jeremy Doku and like even Phil Foden has his purple patches and stuff, and then he'll be on the bench and stuff like that. So it's pep roulette. You can never trust it, can you?
Absolutely, and I think you are right because of the past signings that have been, oh my God, look who's going to City. And then it has been a bad match. It has been, okay, this is a player who needs to play consistently. Otherwise, you're not going to get the best out of him. And I don't know. I just get the feeling about Semenyo. I mean, who doesn't want to go to City? It's one of those teams where I'm sure the football's good. The manager's just going to make you even better. The fans aren't. Sometimes I find fan bases, such as my own, even we're so obsessed. We're so, it runs so deep in us all that we all get very cranky and we all get very judgmental and we all get very negative and toxic sometimes. And I think that's the case in a lot of clubs. I don't tend to see that with City, and I don't. I think look, it could be to do with the sort of difference between the old school fans and the new fans that I don't want to sit here and say glory hunters because I know Man City fans that are massive Man City fans, and I would never dare call them a glory hunter. But you definitely know they exist at City. Um, so yeah, maybe there's a sort of lack of pressure potentially that just makes it more fun, more freedom. You sort of guaranteed trophies. I'm convincing myself. Maybe I should get a move to City.
Yeah, you've got a very PG way of saying things. I love that. It's great. You just like to please everybody. I'll call everyone out. You're all glory hunters. I'm pure. There's no Man City fan that existed before 2001, and I'm just jealous of you all, to be honest with you. So,
At
but
least you're honest.
yeah, yeah, I'm just jealous. But we'll leave that one there. Just I know this is gonna be a bit of a trend for the next sort of like 20 minutes on this pod, but we're flip flopping quite a lot. Um, Matt Gahey, you just said about Arsenal. I can't see it personally because you've got Saliba and Gabriel there. Don't see the point of yes, squad depth. We spoke about that on the last pod again. Just go listen to the last pod, guys. It's pretty much simple anyway. We spoke about that, and it's good to have squad depth, but a player like Matt Gay, he won't be sitting on the bench at Arsenal. He just can't happen. But I can't see the other two defenders sitting there either. Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
Sorry, Alex.
sorry. One of the best defenses in the league, if not the best defense in the league. I'm not sure I'd want to be trying to crack into that back line, if I'm honest.
Yeah, exactly. And Bayern Munich, real quick. I like it. I like watching Bayern. They've got a fantastic squad. They've got a great style of playing. Um, what's his name? Elise went there, didn't he? So I can, yeah, I like it. Don't think I can see it though. He wants to be a Prem, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think English players that it's awful, but you see so many players like I mean Tomori just comes to mind immediately of English players moving to leagues around Europe and then just not even getting considered for international duty. And you just think how yeah, it blows my mind sometimes, but I think he needs to stay in the Premier League. I think for his own career he needs to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah, the last one on the that I've got from the fans as well, from a fan called Kate. She's a Nottingham Forest fan, and she says I'd like Strand Larsen or Callum Wilson to Forest. Two two players that have been sorry, excuse me. Two players that have been linked with a move away. Strand Larsen was actually linked with Tottenham for a little bit. Don't think he can quite.
He's been linked to West Ham as well.
Well, I don't think he's a player that can quite cut it at Tottenham, and I don't think he wants to be a Championship player. So I don't see why he'd move from one Championship club to another. Uh, in terms, Strand Larsen, look, Wolves seems right. I know he's not really hit the ground running this season. I think that was because of a links to move away in the summer. But yeah, I don't know, maybe like an Everton or something like that for Sean Larson's decent. Callum Wilson, I wanted to ask this on you, obviously, as a West Ham fan. He has asked for a move away from the club, along with Paqueta, however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Either
talk to
or.
me, talk to me about these two players, because I know Tottenham was linked with Paqueta as well.
Um, I'll go Callum Wilson first. Callum Wilson, I'm annoyed with the club if I'm honest with you because I feel like he's being pushed out. We don't have many senior heads at all. We don't have much Premier League experience. Um, really, like I can't really think of any leaders in there or somebody you could turn around and say, yeah, done that, got the t-shirt type of situation. Um, I think the Callum Wilson thing is done. I don't think Callum Wilson stays at West Ham, but I'm upset about it. I think it pretty much sums up how we are as a club, how we treat players sometimes. I think he's not been incredible. Of course he's not, but he's not had the service to be incredible, in my opinion. Every time I've seen him come on, he's got that number nine knack, and I could do a whole podcast on why I hate that decision. I see him moving on. I think that's an interesting one, linking him with Forest. I hope not, because that's obviously probably our main rival for relegation. I mean, it'd be awful. It'd be awful if he went to Forest and knocked us, into the championship. Oh God, that's not even worth thinking about.
You know what?
Um,
That- It doesn't sound like a bad move. I quite like it from a Callum Wilson point of view. I think it's a good club for him. I know, like West Ham haven't utilised him as well as. I don't think he's getting that many minutes either, is he? Am I right in saying that?
I don't think his relationship with Nuno's the best.
Right. Okay. Which I mean, you can sort of see this because he's not a. I don't think he's a very attack-minded, is he, Nuno? Which is maybe where
No.
Bowen is lacking, and and Callum Wilson as well. But yeah, I thought it was a good signing for West Ham at the time. Just wrong manager, I think. But yeah, I quite like the Forest move. I know I've contradicted myself because Sean Dyche is also a bit of a defensive manager, but I don't know. I think you can utilise him better.
Yeah, I totally agree. And in a sense, just to add to the Strand Larson stuff, I mean, I've been saying it. I quite like Strand Larson. I like him as a striker. I think he needs to be somewhere. I think he deserves to be in the Premier League. I think you're right. I think he'd be out of his depth at somewhere like Tottenham. But I think you're right. I think he needs to be at an Everton or I don't know, a Brentford or that sort of club that is maybe pushing for Europe every now and again. I like him. I like him as a striker. I have to say, I wouldn't necessarily be upset if West Ham went for him. To be honest, not that he would make that move, like you said. Um, not that I'm bitter or anything. He Paqueta. Oh, honestly, mate, it's like EastEnders. Honestly, it just blows my mind. It's just constant drama. Um, I the Paqueta situation is a difficult one because he wants out. He wants to go to back to Brazil, which I understand. It seems he's sick of England and the English League and the FA, given the situation with his gambling and all the problems that caused. Good God, just for him to be found not guilty. Do you know what I mean? It's silly. All of the mental stuff. I mean, it's not been good for him for the last 18 months or so. And there is a part of me that feels for him. I think honestly, I see him staying probably till the end of the season. I say that now. You watch, there'll be a twist and he'll be gone by tomorrow. But we've had these rumours before. I mean, I'm pretty sure Fabrizio Romano here we goad him to Villa, and then the next day he's putting the phone down when he's at Forest because he's got. Do you know what I mean? It's just constant drama. Um,
Fabrizio Romero also, here we go. Morgan Gibbs White and Eze to Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? These things happen. So, but yeah, no, because I carry on.
he's a complicated one because I think his team behind him like to put out, oh, he wants to go back, he wants to do this. But Paqueta tends to shut them down quite a lot. So that's why I wouldn't be shocked if he stayed to the end of the season. In my
Has
opinion,
he
we
shut
should
these?
cash in on him.
Sorry, has he shut these ones down already? They moved back to Brazil.
Not yet. But I honestly, Matty, I wouldn't be surprised he scores against Tottenham. He does one of those. Honest to God, I would not be surprised if
Well,
something like that happens.
it was just announced today that he's back in training for West Ham. Obviously, he said that he wanted to be moved away from the squad. It was announced today he's back with the squad training, and it looks like he's going to be playing against Tottenham. So I'd be back in that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I said I was at work and I checked my phone and I'm fortunate enough that I've got an insider at West Ham and I got the news that he was back in training earlier than a lot of people and I was shocked to see that he was back in training. But I was shocked but not surprised because he is that type of player. I mean, apparently he's been claiming that he's had a back injury and that's why he's not been training and it's just a mess, mate. It's a mess. I think a lot of West Ham fans are at the point where we're at the point in our season where we don't need players like Paqueta. We need people who are going to grind it out, who are going to put in the hours and really try and get us out of this mess. He is a luxury player. He does mean that you lose possession often. And when you're sitting pretty mid table, that's fine. But when you're in the position we're in, where you're so vulnerable at points, him losing the ball has been the difference between conceding and not conceding. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of West Ham fans that are just a bit sick of the drama surrounding him, and I don't think it's anything personal to him. I mean, my brother would have seen the back of him months ago. Hates him, can't stand him, just purely because he fannies about on the ball too much, and you just don't need that. So I think a lot of West Ham fans would be happy to take the sort of 35 million that I think just said Flamengo are coming at us with. That's a different thing. That's a type of dance. Um, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I just don't want the drama. If he wants to go, let him go.
Yeah,
And it's a scary thing. I heard a quote. Sorry, just to add,
yeah.
I heard a quote from my insider the other day. It's sort of like my insider has an insider that's quite senior in the club. And apparently a quote from them was that they don't want to give in to Paqueta not wanting to play, and therefore he gets his deal. because then that would make a lot of other players do the same thing. And I'm thinking, how bad is the morale in that squad? How many of them want to leave? Because that's a terrifying quote that there are people in there that would look at Paqueta leaving because he's on strike and throwing a hissy fit and go, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. That is a scary thing to hear coming out of your club.
Yeah, look, this is kind of like the world we're in now, though, isn't it? How many players do sort of go on strike, as you say, and sort of just refuse to play until they get the move that they want, and it's kind of throw the toys out the pram. And players do seem to have a lot of the power now, which is a shame, really, because it does ruin the football clubs in these sort of aspects. I think West Ham have got to be quite careful, like you say, if they do look at him and think, well, I'm going to do the same. I think it sounds to me like the players have already accepted relegation, let alone you as a fan base, which is no good luck to anyone. The Piquet move away does feel a bit like Kudus as well in terms of fan base. It's very 50-50. Some don't want him to leave. Some would happily drive him to the airport themselves. So it
Yeah.
is sort of it does feel very 50-50. I've got something about Man United. If you want to move
Go
on.
on. Yeah, we've spoken way too much about the dribble at West Ham United, so you carry on.
Nothing, literally nothing much to say. Just a headline that came out today that said Man United don't expect to be buying any players in the January window. Obviously, Michael Carrick is now officially signed as interim boss. And yeah, just released a statement today that said don't expect any January players. Clubs probably say this quite a lot. Whether they do go and buy a player or two is we'll have to watch. To be honest, can't quite see it. They spent all that money in the summer. January is already a difficult window. They're going to have the odd player coming back from AFCON. So yeah, I'm not sure, but that's just the report that I heard today is that Man United won't be buying any players in January.
It's mad, isn't it? I mean, it shouldn't be shocking, but for some reason, Man United not buying anybody in the January transfer window just feels wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's like they've always been the piggy bank of money. I know it's different now. There's the cities and the Newcastles and all that sort of stuff, but I think United could improve. But honestly, I think they've got a good enough squad. Oh, I don't know, squad starting 11. They've got a good enough starting 11 to be much better than they currently are. I think I say that they're sort of what are they seventh? They're sat seventh or something.
Yeah, sixth, seventh, like that. I literally, as I just put my notes back in front of me, and it's just come up now saying Ahmad and Mbummer have returned to training, so they could be back at the weekend. And it's not like they're going to need time to settle in because they've just been playing at the AFCON, so they're not been missing. So they're quite likely to come straight back in the squad.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I do think they've got the players to sustain the level they're at now or push. Do you know what I mean? I think there's every opportunity, like we've said in all of our podcasts pretty much, that this season is an interesting one because it can switch within 2 or 3 game weeks, everything can change. And I think that's one of those, United go on a run. Hey, you never know. You never know, they might win 5 games and then old United Strand can cut his hair. You never know.
Um,
We've
I,
got one character.
I don't think he's ever cutting that hair. It'll start falling out before I get the chance to cut it. Gonna, I'll run through a couple of headlines that I've got up on here, and then I'll just hand the floor to you for whatever notes you got. Sound good?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're not going to cover everything because it would just take too long. And to be honest, this window is quite flat, especially if like it's January. It's difficult time anyway, and the World Cup's coming up soon, so people don't want to take that risk. They want the game time. We've done the Ahmed and Mbummo back in training. Spurs signed Conor Gallagher's been announced. We spoke about that. Spurs and Villa, not transfer, but Spurs and Villa have been charged by the FA after their conduct at full time after the FA Cup. Uh,
Mhm.
Spurs, sort of transfer news. Spurs have confirmed that Paratici will be joining Fiorentina, and that is now confirmed as well. Uh, I could speak for hours on that one. Really, bit of an odd thing for me. Quite disappointing, especially after Tottenham stuck by him through the ban that he had on placed on him.
Yeah.
Think the whole him and Johan Lang thing would have worked out. I personally, I know we've not spoke about this. I really want Johan Lang out of the club. I think Aston Villa got rid of him because they didn't see him as any good, and that was when they were floating around relegation. And look where they are now. Not saying it's necessarily linked, but you know what I mean. If the boot fits,
You can't help but think it.
yeah. Paquetá reports to training. We've done that. Everton have put a bid in. Have you read this one?
No, I don't think so.
I'll try and pronounce this. I'm definitely going to get this wrong. En Nesri? En Nesri?
And Nesri.
Mike,
Should I know it?
Negotiations underway with is it Feyenoord with a loan?
Oh,
Um, I'm absolutely but I just apologise to like the 14 different countries I've offended there. Uh, Sterling set for crunch talks with Liam Rossignol. He just says they're going to have a conversation about his future. Knowing Sterling, he'll probably sign for Man United or something because he only seems to move around the big six clubs. Yet again, Man United don't plan to buy. And the last one I've got, which I just want to talk about real quickly, is Malin is set to join Roma from Aston Villa. They've agreed a 27 million loan to buy deal. Now I was a bit sort of not shocked when I read this because he's not really starting 11, but I think he's a fantastic squad player.
I think he's brilliant. I mean, we looked around at him, to be honest with you. I think it was sort of, I think we were probably too late to the party as usual. Um, I think it was pretty certain he was going to be off to Italy before we even had a sniff. But yeah, 100%. I actually think that could be a bit of a under the radar bad move for Villa because they are fighting in a few different competitions for difficult positions. Um, and I think having someone like him coming off the bench is definitely an advantage. And not having him, I know Watkins has started to score a few more goals recently, and I understand, the loyalty to Watkins and he's a great player. He's a great player, Watkins. But Donyell Marlin is a different type of player, and I think like you said, I've really liked him when I've seen him play.
Yeah, and we spoke about this in terms of with Arsenal and stuff like that, the squad depth that they've got. And you feel like, I mean, Aston Villa, they've just missed out on Conor Gallagher. So I know it's a different position and stuff like that, but you think they want all the squad depth they can while they're currently competing they're still in the FA Cup, they're still in the league. They've got Europe as well, haven't they? Am I right in thinking?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it Champions League they're in? Did they qualify Champions League? Or is it Europa League? I can't remember.
No, oh my God. No, no.
Do you want to fact check that and I'll just run through the headlines?
There was a big fall. It wasn't Champions League, I'm pretty sure. Uh, I think, is it Conference League? Nope. Hang on, I'm
No, that's
Googling it.
go on. The listeners are going to be screaming at us like, "Come on, you two." So
Sorry. It's been a long day. Sorry. Um, fixtures 2025. Europa League.
Europa League. Okay, well there you go.
Yeah.
They're still in three competitions, and they've still got a chance in every one of them, haven't they? So Prem maybe not so much, but anyway, Man City are preparing an offer for Mark Gahey of 35 million. I actually did. I don't know if you saw it. I actually announced that in the shorts that we do. Uh,
Yeah.
just started to do them daily headlines and stuff like that. Only 30-second shorts really, but that was announced the other day. Uh, what else have we got just real quickly before? Oh, Barcelona are interested in making the move for Marcus Rashford permanent.
Okay.
I,
Haven't seen that personally.
yeah, look, he won't happy at United. I can see that. Forest have made an inquiry of Tavernier from Bournemouth, but the Cherries do not plan to
Hmm.
sell. Don't think Bournemouth are in a position to sell a player like Tavernier, especially after losing Semenyo. Can't see that personally.
No.
Tottenham. Oh, actually, I'll come back to that one on Tottenham. Remind me about that one. Newcastle are considering signing a defender this month as Livramento suffered a hamstring injury. Don't really say who he's linked with, to be honest. Uh,
Yeah, but they're struggling with PSR again, aren't they?
yeah, I think that was also a reason why Villa didn't cash in on the Gallagher deal. That was something to do with the wanting to stay above PSR. That's why they were looking at a loan rather than a buy.
Yeah.
Um, I think Atletico were pretty certain on a sell rather than a loan. Liverpool will not offload Joe Gomez this month. Right back Conor Bradley has suffered a season-ending knee injury, which we've covered that. We weren't happy. Uh, Arsenal do not intend to sell Ben White. Didn't know there was any rumours of him being sold, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Multiple Premier League clubs are intrigued in Ben White.
Yeah, last it's not transfer really, but former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp is one of Real Madrid's top candidates to succeed Xavi Alonso, as well as Antonio Conte and Enzo Maresca also being considered. Um,
Ooh.
So yeah, there's just some football headlines you can all go dive into a little bit more information. I'm going to hand the floor over to you in a second. I just wanted to mention Matthias Tell. Obviously, he's been linked with a loan move away. Uh, I think Paris FC were Paris FC are quite desperate to bring him on loan. I can see why Matthias Tell wants to go on loan. He's not happy being played on the left wing, and he's only been played really when he's been forced to due to lack of injury. If the players hadn't got off injured, I don't think Tell would be getting played. Don't really agree with it. I think Teller's a fantastic player. I want to see him stay at the club, and I think if they are blocking every inquiry, I think that just goes to show we are pretty dire straits on the squad front at the minute, and he's going to play all of the pretty much every game, especially now we're out of the FA Cup. Kinski was also there's also talks of him moving on a loan move away to West Ham. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, so there was
Who dropped that clanger?
To be honest, that came out a few days ago. I can't remember who reported it. I think it was the Athletic, maybe.
Ah, it'd be bollocks. My insider's not mentioned it. I don't think. I mean, he might have done,
yeah,
but
there was talks of Hinsky, Tottenham's backup goalkeeper. Some people would like to see him start over Vicario, but yeah, there was talks of a loan move to West Ham. I can't see it. We'd have to get other cover, and that means we'd have to rely on Brendan Austin in the Premier League if Vicario does get injured, and I don't think Austin's up to it yet. Shame about Kinski. I think he deserved a start against Villa. It's a cup game. I don't really understand why he wasn't played, but yeah, I'm going to hand the floor over to you because I've done a lot of talking so far. You knock
I
out.
don't.
Tell me, I'm just going to sit back and relax.
I don't think I've got too much else to add to that, to be honest. I've got a few confirmed transfers. Obviously, we've spoken about Brennan Johnson, who went to Palace for 35 million. I think you said pretty much that you didn't really agree with that as a Tottenham fan because you're not really in the position to do that. Um,
Guys,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'll just say as well. The that was we sold him before Mohamed Kudus went out injured. But again, this is not planning from Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? They should have had a replacement lined up, ready to go if they were going to sell a player like Johnson. I did notice the game after the sold Johnson, Richarlison won the ball back up near the corner flag, and he was going to put a ball into the box. Nobody was there, literally nobody. And the first player to get in the box, Pedro Porro, a right back,
Oh,
a right back. Who would have been there though? Brennan
Brennan
Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah.
I'm if Tottenham really weren't going to plan on keeping him, fine. I can see moving him on for 35 million. It's a decent price. I don't understand how that's a good price for Brennan Johnson, but 35 for Conor Gallagher is not. That's too expensive apparently. So I don't know. We'll let the comment section fight over that one. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Brennan.
Yeah, so there's that one. I think from a Palace perspective, that's a decent move for them. I think, yeah, I can't understand that really because I think 35 million, like you say, for Brendan Johnson is an inflated price in a sense, just the way football is these days. But it matches Conor Gallagher. Do you know what I mean? I don't get that either.
Well,
What else we got?
it helps. Sorry, it helps out with our homegrown quota as well. Obviously, we lost a homegrown player thanks to Brennan Johnson, and we've just bought one back. So
Yeah, of course.
there's an English tax on players anyway, and there's a homegrown tax on players. So 35 million for both of them players. I'm not going to argue with.
No, I agree. I agree. Pascal Gross has gone back to Brighton, I think, has he? Yeah. For some
Yeah,
reason I wrote Bournemouth for some reason. I'm thinking, why have I written Bournemouth? He's gone from Dortmund to Brighton for 1.3 million, I think. That feels like nothing for Pascal Gross.
right. So Pascal Gross, I like it. I don't think he ever should have left Brighton in the first place. What I want to know from Brighton, how do you do it? How do you buy these
Yeah.
players so cheap, sell them on for millions of pounds in profit, and then you've just bought one back for next to nothing? Like what? Like I don't understand the.
Matty, we support two clubs with terrible ownership. That's why.
I would. Do you know what, Brighton? Fair play to you. I think you'll be in the Premier League for years to come. The model that you've got at the club is unbelievable. And I think even the best of the best teams in the Premier League are going to be envy of your model because you're not buying a player from Brighton for less than 60 million.
Yeah, yeah. And I think what's brilliant is they buy them at a certain age where they make them better. And it's just they buy them at a sweet spot and then they just give them a few years, the Premier League proven. Oh, it's a delight. God, I wish I was a Brighton fan to some extent. Um, I don't regret being a West Ham fan. I don't regret it. Okay, I'd never change it. I love my club. Anyway, other than that, obviously West Ham have brought in a couple of. I mean, it's quite interesting because Tati Castellanos, who I like by the way, seen him play a couple of times now. Good energy. I don't know whether you've seen him play yet.
No, I've not. No.
Well, you'll see him on Saturday.
I will
He
get to it. Well, I'm out in Birmingham all weekend.
For goodness sake, fake fan. Anyway,
I'll be
that's
expecting minute by minute updates from you there, Grace. To be honest on that one.
okay. I'll just be fuming at you when we're like 5-0 down. We've saved Thomas Frank's job. Anyway, yeah, he looks good. We've been playing him up front. He looks energetic. I heard a lot of Lazio fans saying we overpaid for him. 26 million, I think it was. Just football these days. We probably did overpay for him. Apparently, I've heard his finishing isn't great. I mean, he put away a decent header in the FA Cup the other day to win it for us. But I probably see that. I think honestly, we just need energy. We just need somebody who's going to really push hard. And anyway, yeah, he looks good. Pablo, I'm not so convinced on. What's interesting though is that both of them, they're sort of a bit. What position do they play in? It's sort of a bit all over the place. Um, I think we bought them both as strikers, but I've not. I'm not 100% sure. It's quite confusing, really, because I think Castellanos can play as a sort of 10 as well, which is, who knows? Who knows what Nuno's going to do? Apparently, he wanted both the players. So, do you know what? You have them, you do what you want to do with them. Anyway, we mentioned Ben White. Looks like Bournemouth are interested in a defensive midfielder from Ferencváros, a Hungarian called Alex Toth. So maybe using some of that money that they got for Semenyo, which would be interesting. Donya Marlin mentioned him. Eric Dyer. This is an interesting one. Eric Dyer to West Ham. What do you think of that?
Honestly, you can't see it.
Ooh. Yeah, I think it's far fetched.
I think he moved to Bayern Munich. I think that's got quite a lot to do with his certain friend he's got out there. That's kind of ripping the league up as it is. Um, I think that move was quite heavily influenced by Harry Kane. Um, where's he now? Where's he gone to now?
What? Eric Dyer?
Yeah, yeah.
He's still at Bayern, I think, isn't he?
Oh no, he's transferred away. He's not.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm absolutely certain he's not there anymore. Let me have a look.
Sorry, why was I? Why did I fully think he was at Bayern still?
Monaco.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
When did, when did he move to Monaco? Good God, I missed
I
that
think it
one.
was the start of the end of last season. He won the Bundesliga and he moved to Monaco. So and he scored. Did he score a penalty? I think for Monaco. It was an absolute fantastic penalty as well. It was like top bins. Um, I just can't see it. I think that's the sort of place Eric Dyer is suited for now. He's very much at the end of his career. By all means, if West Ham bring him in, fair play to him. I just don't think he can cut it in the Premier anymore. Championship,
And
maybe.
that's fair enough. Yeah, but right, hear me out. He We are facing a lot. We're not asking him to play Man City level of Premier League football. We are asking him to face, to just be a stereotypical defender. Do you know what I mean? So weirdly, I think I don't know. I don't know. I think it's far fetched anyway. I don't think
It
it would
gives
be nice to have someone who is so Premier League proven and experienced and a figurehead come into West Ham. That would be nice.
it gives Craig Dawson vibes in terms of like just the old defender who don't have to run. He can just sit at the back and just knock headers away every couple of minutes and stuff like that. So look, not a bad move. I just can't see it personally. If you got him, I'd be buzzing.
I mean, we've been linked with Charlie Cresswell as well. I don't know, England under 21's centre back, used to play for Leeds. I think he went through their academy. Currently plays for Toulouse, I think. Been linked with him a few times. I wouldn't be surprised if that potentially happened, which I'd be pleased about. I like him, but he's not. He's young, isn't he? He's young and impressionable. I do think we need a bit of an old head. Anyway, we're still talking about West Ham. Jack Harrison to Fiorentina. That was something I read. As in Leeds Jack Harrison. I always think Jack Harrison doesn't get enough game time. I've always quite liked him.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't. I don't know. It's hard to call, isn't it? I don't. It's hard to guess players moving away from the Prem because you always think, and this might be a bit of English bias, but you kind of think players want to be here, they want to be in the Prem, and it's just always. I think it's hard to predict where a player is going to go when they're moving abroad.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and yeah, Jack Harrison's a tough one in general, really, in terms of conversation as to whether he deserves more game time or not. You know, should he move elsewhere in the Premier League, all that sort of stuff. I also read Mazraoui to Juventus. Apparently, Juventus are interested in Mazraoui.
Yeah, I did hear this rumor. Didn't read too much into it, but I did. I saw the headline.
The final one I've got is probably going to come from the fact that Donyell Marlin's moving. Is it seems Villa fans seem to be quite happy about this. Tammy Abraham apparently coming back to Villa.
Yeah. I did read this. Yeah, from Roma. Is it? Is that where Roma? Yeah. No. Do you know what? I think Tottenham were eyeing up a move for him. Yeah. Why not? I think he's a player that is, like you said, Premier League proven. Yeah. No, fair play. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Especially as a backup. I mean, not a bad backup, is he?
No. I don't. Yeah. I've got nothing to say about it because it'd be a good move. It's kind of tough. Yeah. Why not? Go for it.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly how I feel about it. Why not go for it? Anyway, that's my headlines. Thank you for joining my Sky Sports segment.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much I've got. Like it's a tough window to talk about, isn't it? Players want to move for World Cup minutes. Clubs don't really want to sell in January. No one knows where they are with PSR or what money they've got to spend. Like Tottenham are apparently got this 150 million war chest that they're not spending any money on. So
From
it's
where?
well we've not really spent anything. We've got a lot of revenue. We've got a lot of headroom in PSR. We've got the uh, we've got money from Brennan Johnson. We had 150 million, and it must be there because we was going to put money down for Savinho and Morgan Gibbs White in the summer, and both of them were 60 million plus each. So the money must be there. And then you've got an extra 35 million from the Brennan Johnson sale. So there's 150 million. All right, Conor Gallagher's just come out of that. And that left back we was talking about, I think he's like 5 mil, which was probably behind one of the couches at Tottenham. So, yeah, it's difficult in it for clubs don't want to sell, players want to move or want to stay. It's a difficult window, but it's hard to talk about every club. You'll all have your rumours in your ITAs. I don't know what they're called, in the nose or whatever. ITKs.
ITKs.
You'll all have them and stuff like that. So, but look, do you know what, fun podcast though. I enjoy talking about transfers. I know some people hate the transfer window. I love it, man.
I love it. It's all the rumours, all the fueling, and I love it as a West Ham fan because you generally towards the end of the window. I mean, I didn't mention Igor potentially going back to Brighton for West Ham because he was on loan and they're thinking of terminating the loan, but that leaves us a little space for a cheeky little loan deal. And you know what West Ham are like with loan deals. We could be offered anybody on the 30th of January and then try and get it done by midnight on the 31st. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love the January transfer window. I think it's really interesting who comes about, who becomes available, and the movement in between the Premier League. I mean, I'm just getting flashbacks to Jesse Lingard moving. I'm praying for that level of loan move. I don't know who's
Does
gonna pop up.
it does feel like you need that sort of move to like inspire West Ham again, doesn't it? And what's he doing these days? Can't he come back? Is he had enough?
Well, he was in the Korean League for a little while, and apparently he has had enough. And look, I'll be honest with you, Matty, we could fully go for him. He could be a West Ham player by February the 1st because we could fully go for him and just go, do you know what? Let's just see what happens. And I've spoken to one of the other girl West Ham fans that does social media, and she put a video out about Lingard being an option. Why not? And I'm like, I'm the same. Do you know what? If he thinks he can add something, he'd be great off the bench, bit of energy. Why not? Bring it back, run it back. That'd be quite nice.
I don't know if I'm just saying this because you might have put the idea in my head, but I'm fairly certain I did read a headline that he said he wished he'd never, or he wished he'd signed for West Ham. Sorry, am I right in saying that there was a headline like that floating about?
Broke my heart, Matty. Broke my heart. He got persuaded. He got persuaded to go to Forest, and someone persuaded him. He said that he's not. he's not, they're not in his life anymore type situation. But he always wanted West Ham. He wanted to go back to West Ham, and it literally broke my heart. I was like, what we could have had, Jesse Lingard, what we could have had. It's so sad.
Yeah, yeah. I think this will probably, it's a good place to sort of call the podcast there, really. But this will probably be the only transfer window podcast that we do, purely because the Premier League actually will be starting again and we just haven't really got the time to do it. But we'll be talking in between Premier League weekends. We'll be mentioning transfers and stuff like that anyway, in and out of podcasts. They'll be back next week after the Premier League weekend. Big one for us, isn't it? West Ham versus Tottenham. Big El Sakiko, I think it's going to be. Do you think? All right, do you think yes or no? Do you think Nuno's going to get sacked if they lose?
No,
Okay, if we lose, I think Thomas Frank's going out.
I agree.
No, he can't. He can't stay if we lose to. We can't lose. We can't lose to West Ham. Come on, we can't, can we? We can't. I will be tune in for that podcast if we lose because I will have him. I won't be here. I just won't do it. I'll refuse. I'll go on strike. I will just strike, and that'll be it. Grace will be finding a new host. I won't be doing it. I'll be giving up the football and focusing on paddle or something like that. It's just, it's not. I can't. That is it. We're gonna sign off. Podcasts are back. Make sure. Go on.
We expect to get nothing. Let's go there and just see what happens. Come on then, bring it on.
Dr. Tottenham, you've got nothing to lose. Paquetet's going to score a hat trick. Bowen's going to bang in about 7 goals, and Nuno's going to run on the pitch half naked. Look at what this club does to me, man. Yeah, hit the subscribe, hit the like. I thought I'd got through a podcast without having a meltdown, but here we are. Check out the TikTok because we're doing short. We're going to be doing little shorts and stuff like that, little headline, daily headlines and stuff. Grace Wild Football. Tottenham fans be behind the Tottenham on TikTok for these daily meltdowns. And thank you. That's all I've got to say. Grace, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks. Had loads of fun. Thanks.
You too. Bye bye.